Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Tuesday, October 28th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast. Stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
A sports hydration peach mango. This should keep me going for a couple days.
It's just not as easy as it used to be for Belinda to make ends meet.
There's just not enough funds to cover the bills, to cover the rent, to cover transportation, and to provide the food.
Billy, as she likes to be called, has worked hard in her life. She has a pension, but it's not enough.
It's something that I must do. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, but I must do it. And that is why I'm here.
She takes care of her adult daughter who can't work. They both need to eat, so Billy uses the food bank once a month.
I can budget it out, the food, over the 30 days. It doesn't last 30. It might last 2 weeks.
But it helps cover the gaps. And Billy's story is far from unique. 7,500 people use the Barrie Food Bank.
They're doing everything right. They've gone to school. You know, they're working. You know, they just can't get a break. And so that safety net has eroded to the extent that they find themselves here.
It's not just the physical stress from not having enough food. There's a social toll as well.
They'll rack up their visa. They'll, go against their line of credit. They'll start selling their assets. They'll beg from family and friends before they even make their way to the food bank. And maybe that's shame and embarrassment, but there is a whole epidemic behind what we're seeing.
Even those people who make it to the food bank battle shame.
I would not make it without it.
But many, like Billy, have no choice at all.
Now, the Barrie Food Bank is always looking for donation. Food works, but cash is better. Food bank staff can use that money to buy fruits, vegetables, milk, meat, and other things that perish that you can't kind of leave in a box. As well, they get better deals when they buy in bulk, so your dollar will go further. Reporting live, I'm Jack Morgan.
Just after 6:30 this morning, a 911 call reported a baby had been abandoned in this Longueuil bus shelter at the corner of Chambly and Briggs Streets. Nearby officers rushed to the scene, but the baby wasn't breathing.
Did CPR right away on the baby, and then afterwards we had the paramedics that were there also that were helping, and then they rushed to the hospital.
Police say the newborn was pronounced dead at the hospital. Investigators canvassed the area for clues. A sniffer dog was brought in to help. By noon, there was an update.
33-year-old woman has been arrested in the last few minutes.
Police aren't confirming if the woman arrested is the mother of the baby. The woman is now in hospital undergoing physical and psychiatric evaluations. Blood was found at the bus shelter. Investigators are working on several theories, including that the mother may have given birth inside. Our colleagues at Nouveau Info have learned through several sources the woman had been using the services at a nearby shelter, which is where police arrested her. It's sad to see homeless people in distress, says this man, who uses the same resources. It's the second time a newborn has been abandoned in Longueuil in recent weeks. On October 5th, the baby was left on a stranger's doorstep with the umbilical cord still attached.
We were actually all pretty shocked, and now it's happening a second time in a row. So we still do not understand what's going on, and we are worried. But one thing for sure, the cases are not related.
Police are still investigating that case. They had released surveillance footage. The mother has yet to be found. Angela McKenzie, CTV News, Longueuil.
The fire started right in that corner right there.
And Serge Pinard, a former volunteer firefighter, jumped into action.
Started going downstairs, kicking doors, and they evacuated everybody from the basement. And I came back outside to get some more air because I was getting smoke there in my lungs, and then I went back in, and then there was still one more guy who was not out, and I kicked the door, and he was getting dressed, and he finally got out.
Ottawa fire crews were called to this Belcourt Boulevard home with multiple tenants on Sunday morning.
Then I walked over and I saw the flames just going up the wall. So my buddy here, he was outside, so I said, call the fire department right away. We got a big problem here.
Firefighters arriving on scene within minutes.
They were evacuated out of the structure due to dangerous conditions, fought the fire from the exterior, made their way back in, and confirmed that there was no one in the basement.
The Ottawa Police Arson Unit called in.
The fire's under investigation. It's deemed suspicious, so our fire investigators will now support the Ottawa Police Arson Unit.
The outpouring of support from the community was right away and within hours.
Alex Cote's dad, Michelle, was a tenant who escaped with only his coat, phone, and slippers.
Physically great. Mentally, it's a little a little hard. I know that, losing all of your stuff, and he did not have insurance, so it's hard to kind of rebuild from zero, but he's hanging in.
Despite the risk, Serge Pinard says he didn't think twice.
I'm there to save lives. It's not my first time I've done that, so like I said, once you're in, you don't think about yourself, you got to think about the other people, so that's the way I'm made.
That other suspicious fire was in a water utility room at a 3-story building under construction on Clearview Crescent. There were 2 separate fires there that had largely been put out by a broken water line by the time firefighters got there.
In Brantford, a couple were living their lives and enjoying their retirement, but in March, while using their computer, a warning popped up.
I couldn't get rid of it. I tried Control-Alt-Delete, and it wouldn't go away. It wouldn't turn off.
The man and woman, both in their 70s, asked us not to identify them as they're still coping with losing their entire life savings. When they called the number on the screen, they were told their accounts had been hacked, and it appeared he was involved in criminal activity.
My SIN number had been compromised and was being used for money laundering by a criminal organization that was involved in child pornography, human trafficking, and drugs.
They were told their money in the bank was at risk of being stolen and they needed to get it out to protect it. After 2 months of grooming the couple with daily calls, they told them to take their money out by purchasing gold bars and to put some in a Bitcoin machine. They purchased $900,000 in gold and over $100,000 in Bitcoin. The criminals said they would hold on to the money to keep it safe and give it back when the investigation was complete. Despite warnings from their bank, they still went through with it.
But our financial advisor warned us.
Yeah.
She said, oh, this sort of sounds like fraud.
Eventually, when they had no more money to give, the scammers cut off all contact with them. That's when they realized they'd been duped.
Oh, we're devastated. It sounds very foolish that somebody would do something like this, but it was the trust that was built up over 5 months.
Every day, Canadians are losing their life savings.
The Canadian Association of Retired Persons, CARP, says banks need to do more to protect vulnerable seniors from scams.
Canadian banks should be doing more beyond education, but really setting up the infrastructure to protect seniors.
The couple says they're now financially ruined, and the chance of recovering any of the funds is almost zero.
It was money that we invested over our lives. It was money that we inherited. It was money from the sale of our house. It was
money we were going to leave our son.
And the couple also cashed in their RRSP, so at tax time, they'll have a tax bill of more than $100,000. Legitimate officials would never ask you to buy gold bars or put money in a Bitcoin machine. If they do, it's a scam. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
A pair of fatal crashes involving pedestrians are under investigation. Waterloo Regional Police say a 60-year-old woman from Cambridge was hit by a pickup truck in Cambridge late Friday night. It happened along Christopher Drive near Champlain Boulevard just after 11:15. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene, while the driver was not injured.
The investigation is still in its infancy. We have a significant amount of follow-up investigation to do, and we're looking for anybody who may have information regarding the collision.
Then Saturday afternoon, a 66-year-old man from Wilmot was hit by a motorcycle while walking near Wilmot Centre Road near Bleams Road around 4:35. He later died in an out-of-region hospital. The 34-year-old motorcycle driver was not physically injured. Police say in both incidents, the drivers remained at the scene.
Certainly charges are always a consideration, and we'll have to make determination as the investigation moves forward.
Police say the 5-year average is 11 fatalities on Waterloo Region roads by this time of the year. But after this past weekend, there's been a total of 13 fatal crashes in the region, which have resulted in the deaths of 14 people.
Obviously, we all share the same road, and that we obviously need to be all aware of each other, recognize what's going on in your own surroundings, obey the traffic laws and the rules surrounding that, and hopefully we'll be able to share the road safely.
Police are still investigating both fatal incidents on the weekend and are asking any witnesses or anyone with information regarding the collisions to contact police. Colton Weens, CTV News.
Chris Napier is having a foot valve replaced today. It's not the only issue he's had recently with his well.
few weeks back, we did have it go dry for a few days. That's the first time in 5 years for me that's gone dry.
After a few days, the well filled up naturally.
I guess it was a pretty dry summer. It's the driest that I can remember being here for the last 5 years.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more for sure.
Plumber Mike Ferguson has been responding to a lot of calls lately for dry wells in the Williams Wood, Sambro, Ketch Harbor area. But given the dry conditions, he expected to be busier.
Over the last couple of weeks, I seem to be getting phone calls, but over the summer, not as much as I did last summer.
The situation with the city water supply at Lake Major hasn't changed much despite some recent rainfall.
So Lake Major's received approximately 40 millimeters of rain in the past 7 days, but unfortunately it still is very low.
Not nearly enough for Halifax Water to lift mandatory water conservation measures that have been in place since September 10th.
We need hundreds of millimeters of rain at this point.
The utility has seen a 10% decrease in consumption since the order was put in place. No fines have yet been issued to anyone for not following the guidelines. Todd Brittany Smith says as far as she can remember, this is the longest Halifax Water has had mandatory conservation measures in place, and it could be a while yet with Lake Major still 1.5 meters below its normal level.
$1.4 million worth of illicit drugs and over $124,000 in Canadian currency, making this the largest drug seizure in the history of the Sault Ste. Marie Police Service.
The historic drug bust is made up of large quantities of suspected methamphetamine, cocaine, oxycodone, and fentanyl. It all stems from an October 21st search warrant that police executed in a multi-residential unit on Princess Crescent.
I would say that the sheer magnitude of the seizure is very significant. We've prevented a large amount of poison from going onto our streets within our community, and this is about community safety and saving lives. And if that's the case, if we even only saved one life or prevented one overdose, then I would say that's a positive win for us and the community.
20-year-old DeJour Jones from Toronto faces 4 trafficking-related charges and 1 charge for possessing property obtained by crime. In addition to the roughly 10 kilograms or 23 pounds of drugs, officers also located drug cutting agents, packing materials, as well as 3 weigh scales and 5 cell phones.
I can't attribute that this person is affiliated with any specific group. What I can tell you is that the sheer amount of drugs that you see before you and the packaging involved, that this person was organized.
Police officials wouldn't go into the details on how this arrest took place, other than saying that it was a long investigation that used intelligence-led policing and that the investigation remains ongoing.
If more people are identified, then they will be exposed and treated accordingly.
Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Using strong mayor powers, Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkins is directing administration to come up with a 2026 city budget with a 0% tax increase.
I think it's realistic. At the end of the day, we know that we are living in uncertain times. We know that the economy is feeling the effects of tariffs and inflation, and we know that residents are scared right now, not knowing what Donald Trump may do next.
He says the goal is to maintain funding for infrastructure, asset management, and growth while helping residents manage the cost of living.
It is clear you can't do zero forever, and we've done it for a number of years, but the past few years we have not seen zero. The commitment that I made in 2022 when I knocked on everyone's door was that I would bring in budgets at or below the rate of inflation, and we've been able to do that.
But former City Councillor Reno Bordelin tells AM 800 that keeping taxes flat could lead to service cuts or higher user fees.
When we talk about cutting taxes, especially at a time like this, it only helps the upper echelon of taxpayers and people who rely on city services the least.
This is something we should do every year.
Ward 1 Councillor Fred Francis says he's always supported the idea of holding the line on taxes, but questions the timing, suggesting the move could be politically motivated ahead of the next municipal election.
I get it. Campaigns are important, elections are important, everybody wants to win. I get that. But we have to keep in mind there's people's livelihoods at stake, and consistency and being able to afford people money and save them money in the entire term, 4 years, not just an election year, is important.
I think he's out of his mind.
Residents we spoke with share mixed feelings.
If we don't, we're going to end up with a tax bill that's going to kill us, because
we just can't afford it.
We're paying enough taxes, left and right.
I would love the 0%.
Mayor Dilkens insists he's too busy to be thinking ahead to the next election, which is a year away, minus a day, on October 26th.
I'm committed on delivering the promises that I made in 2022 to residents. There will be lots of time in 2026 to talk about future plans.
The mayor says the 0% goal is about fiscal responsibility, not politics, and we'll get a better sense of whether it's achievable or not when the draft budget is tabled in the coming weeks. Under Ontario's strong mayor powers, once the budget is tabled, council will have 30 days to review and make any recommendations for change.
61% of the people fitted with ankle monitor devices in Manitoba since last year have been rearrested or breached conditions. That's according to new data shared by Manitoba's Justice Minister. Out of the 530 people ordered to wear ankle monitors, 243 were rearrested for committing another crime or for violating conditions. 53 removed the devices themselves and took off, and 12 allowed the device's battery to die.
If you look at the numbers, if we just look at people who've been through the program, the success rate is like 11%.
Michael Reinrath, a criminal justice professor at the University of Winnipeg, says he's not surprised by these numbers. He says past research has shown electronic monitoring programs are ineffective.
It's supposed to discourage people from being, rearrested for new crimes. So that failure rate, and the program hasn't been running very long, the fail rate is concerning.
The Canoe government reintroduced the electric monitoring program in August 2024 as a way for law enforcement to keep tabs on those charged with crimes and released on bail in real time. Ankle monitors are also used in intimate partner violence cases. The devices use voice, audio, and vibration commands to alert those wearing it, and it can send out alerts if someone is in an area they're prohibited from entering. Premier Wab Kinew argues the high number of rearrests are a sign the ankle monitors are working as intended.
Well, there's a deterrence component, but yeah, if somebody's breaching bail, you should go arrest them.
But the PC's justice critic says the program is failing and the province should prioritize crime prevention.
We have experts saying that this is not something to rely on. We have experts saying that these are inflated numbers that the minister was using. And if we look at the people that were actually no longer in this program or aren't wearing these monitors, it's a staggering number.
The Pallister-led PC government axed an ankle monitoring program back in 2017. However, the Conservatives did promise to reintroduce electronic device tracking during their 2023 election campaign.
As the number of people living on the streets grows, provincial leaders are weighing in on how homelessness should be addressed.
Homelessness is out of control, and the Sask Party isn't treating this like the crisis it is.
According to the city, between 2022 and 2024, the number of people considered homeless tripled. Data from the Saskatoon Fire Department shows the number of encampments has also nearly tripled in that same time frame. It says as of September 1st, more than 1,200 encampments have been reported in the city this year. NDP MLA Vicky Mowat says the numbers are concerning and is calling on the province to repair hundreds of vacant social housing units.
It's alarming when we have this government housing stock that hasn't been utilized. We have places for people to go that haven't been fixed up.
Mowat is also calling for changes to Saskatchewan income support, saying payment should go directly to landlords rather than recipients. The province says direct pay is available for people who need it. It also says more than $40 million have been put towards addressing homelessness over the past 2 years.
This type of situation is really, really complex, and it involves the involvement and the collaboration of multiple levels of government.
The province says it has created more than 100 supportive housing spaces and enhanced emergency shelters and 30 complex needs shelters.
Last week in the throne speech, we alluded to that provincial approach to homelessness being renewed and expanded.
The Social Services Minister says more details on the province's approach to homelessness will be released at a later date, something the NDP and homeless advocates say can't come too soon as colder temperatures are coming. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The murder trial of a man accused of second-degree murder in Misha Pavlik's death has entered its second week. 4 witnesses recalling multiple fights that allegedly took place the night of a graduation party that led to Pavlik's death nearly 20 years ago. Pavlik died in 2006 after being fatally stabbed at a campground party near Last Mountain Lake. Court first heard from Kayleen Zander, who testified she entered the party with a group of people who were not invited to the private event. Zander says she witnessed a group of girls fighting at a tent before seeing multiple fights break out near a bonfire that same night, including one dispute that led to Pavlik's death. The girl who was allegedly attacked in the tent also taking the stand. She was under 18 years old at the time and cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, stating there were 6 or 7 girls surrounding the tent, telling her she needed to get out, adding the accused was among the group at the time. That witness also mentioned there were 2 girls she did not get along with at the party, both also taking the stand on Monday. One of them was Kayla Kemp, who told the court after leaving the campground with the group of people she entered the party with, they headed to Regina Beach. On the drive back to the city, Kemp says the accused urged her to pull over, stating he had an adrenaline rush. The last witness of the day telling court she saw Pavlik's former girlfriend slapping him on the face immediately after Pavlik allegedly hit a man with a beer bottle near the bonfire, adding she remembers the accused received a phone call when the group arrived at Regina Beach and started saying he's dead. When asked by the Crown if the accused said it was Pavlik, the witness responded yes. A little less than 30 more witnesses are expected to take the stand here at Court of King's Bench. The trial is expected to run until November 14th. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Canada's usually booming energy sector is shrinking. In September, the country counted 204,200 energy workers, but that was down about 500 jobs from August, according to Statistics Canada. And year over year, compared to 2024, employment in the sector was down nearly 5%, or about 10,500 jobs. But new pipelines could turn the tide.
Alberta or Saskatchewan has got good pipeline exposure and transportation exposure to east and west coast, then Canada's future is very bright.
But for now, the job losses appear to be piling up. Last week, U.S.-based ConocoPhillips announced it would be laying off staff in Calgary to be more efficient with the resources it has. 950 employees work for the company in Canada.
I've been in this industry, for 40 plus years, and I was with industry before I switched to academia in Australia in 2002. I have seen these cycles. So Conoco moving out is not necessarily a bad news for Canada. When one door closes, 2 doors opens.
The sector did see major growth last month in refining and pipelines with more than 11,000 jobs added. American company Sunoco is wrapping up a deal to buy Calgary-based Parkland for more than $12.5 billion Canadian this Friday.
I think initially there were some concerns that we're letting an American company come in and acquire possibly strategic assets of the Burnaby refinery and some of the gas stations that we have here. But there were commitments made by Sunoco in a way that they would maintain investment in the refinery and also maintain the headquarters and jobs in Calgary.
And amid a frosty relationship with the U.S., experts saying this deal will only help attract more international stakeholders seeking a piece of the energy pie in Canada.
A U.S. company is coming in and being able to purchase a Canadian company with a relatively smooth approval process. I think this bodes well for foreign investment.
Cenovus Energy's takeover of MEG Energy also appears poised to win shareholder approval later this week. Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.